Here we go. So play for us. Here we go.
Barney.
Oh. Let me see if I need to pause this just a second.
Is this a video of Kristen's husband?
Barney?
I'm an Army veteran. I'm from here in Idaho Falls, Idaho. I've got 4 wonderful children.
Okay, I'm going to run to the beginning here.
Barney. I'm an Army veteran. I'm from here in Idaho Falls, Idaho.
Okay, remembering.
I've got 4 wonderful children and the most beautiful wife you guys have ever seen. But I have a lot of limitations over my life that have kind of held me down, especially since I left the Army.
Okay, I don't know your name yet.
Didn't he say Mitch Barney?
I don't think he said his name. I rewound it just to see.
Okay. And you're staying in the box with both of your hands together. Both of your hands together.
Mm-hmm.
Just be aware. Don't let your hands play with each other.
Okay. And when you said, I have the most beautiful wife in the world, that was totally awesome. And then you said, but. Which
you did.
Connected something to your wife. Even though you're about to talk about your limiting beliefs, it said something about your wife.
Especially since I left the Army. I was like you guys have ever seen. But I have a lot of limitations over my life that have kind of held me down, especially since I left the Army.
Okay, especially, just watch the, we're getting real nitpicky here, which is a good thing because that means we are fine-tuning. Especially, just make sure that it's pronounced especially so that you're not losing the teachers and the oracles in the room.
I was declared a disabled veteran, and I really let that label stick to me. And I kind of let that become...
That's powerful, you're seeding the word.
The disabled veteran, right? Terrible way of looking at yourself, right? Well, I recently met this amazing person in my life, and she's been this great mentor for me, right?
Right. Once again, then I may start counting them. I think you're at 4 right now. So we're going to watch out for certain words that we use as filler words, and it is common for most individuals to use them.
Mm-hmm. And it's just being aware of it and using them on purpose rather than unconsciously.
Right?
Right?
Okay.
Right.
We're ready to go.
And I want you to imagine to yourself that you're running down a mountain trail. Feel that breath. Feel that wonderful mountain air coming in and out, right? And all you can hear is the birds and the chipmunks scattering across the road and just that trail, and you start running up this hill, right? And you start, I can't make it up this hill. And right there's your running buddy, Jen Saunders. She is pushing you on, encouraging you, giving you what you need to hit that mountaintop. Now that's what Jen Saunders does with Button Gear Mentoring, and she is a fantastic mentor that has really made a huge difference in my life just in the couple months that I've known her. I've taken a lot of the excuses that have weighed me down, and I've tossed them off to the trail side, and
cool visual.
Nice, good language.
Taken that and pushed myself to reach new heights. So in a moment here, I want everybody to get on their feet and give me a round of applause here for my good friend, Jen Saunders.
Hey! Is she wearing a cape?
Yes.
Hey, let's give it up for Mitch. Isn't such a
All right,
making
Mitch.
great strides in his life to hit the trails running and keep himself going. So he told you that I trail run. Let me tell you a few other things about myself. I'm a mom. I'm an adventurer. I'm a lover of life and a lover of souls.
Cool.
I love to learn. I love to mentor and coach. I'm Jen Saunders. Everyday superhero.
Nice.
Now, as part of my adventuring and superheroing, one of the ways that I enjoy learning lessons is through adventure. And part of those adventures are trail running.
Okay, I want to see some enrolling questions that I have not yet seen.
So how many of you have heard
Okay.
or know of what a trail is?
Good.
How many of you know
Way to hear me, Jen.
Okay, your hand is up too
what
fast.
a finish line or a goal
So your-
is, or
your
have you
hand-
ever set one?
Your hand is already up before you're ready to ask the question. So that can and does cause confusion for your audience because they don't know if they're supposed to raise their hand or not. But when you raise your hand at the end of the question, how many of you know what a trail is? Okay, yeah.
So you just do with your body what you want them to do with theirs.
How many of you would be okay if I shared with you tonight, by a raise of hand, some experiences that I've learned on the trail that have helped me not only in my life, but also in my business?
Okay, that question was a little bit wordy, and it started out with how many of you would be okay with. So rather than asking whether or not they're going to be okay, what I would do is how many of you are eager to learn what it takes to be, and then ask them the question, and then call for an audible and say I, or that's me, or whatever you want to do. All right.
I thought I could do that, but apparently I can't.
We're about to go on a little journey. Let me tell you about my first 100 miler.
I love that. My
Yes,
first
said
time. I
100.
love
And
that.
what did I say?
That is powerful.
100.
Did you see that response that you got? What did you say? What?
Because people don't think that they heard you right. Because most people don't say my first 100 miler, much less I did a 100 miler.
Yeah, you're the only person I know that's ever said that in my presence. So when you drop that, my first 100 miler, you drop the tone so perfectly. Look at the audience and just watch their reactions. What you're doing right now is just kind of looking down and got your gaze down here. But when you say my first 100 miler, just hold the gaze of the audience and watch them be shocked. And then if they say, what? Respond to that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can rewind it here and show you.
100 miler.
Good. Now watch the audience.
Yes, I said 100. How many miles did I say?
just threw up.
100.
100.
Okay, so you said, yes, I said 100 before they were even able to verbally express their shock. So when you say, yes, my first 100, make sure it's actually in response to the audience's verbal being in awe of that.
In that first 100-mile race, it was the, see, it just caught me so, wow, speechless. Pony Express 100. And it was a speechless experience. As I prepared,
I want more eye contact with the audience.
And in that event, I had the opportunity to put together a crew, my pit crew.
A what?
And these people became very instrumental in me completing my event. Now, how many of you have ever run a mile? Walked a mile? Yeah. I did 100 of them. Now, in
I have.
these events, you go until you're done. A lot of them have time restraints, so you have to actually meet the time restraint along with going until you're done. In this particular event,
So I'm seeing a lot of stage movement, but outside of the stage geography that is helpful to your story. So be conscious and aware of where you're moving on stage and why. And as far as body language goes, this is what I'm seeing most often. I'm seeing your gaze down here or off in this area down here instead of out in the audience. So we want to see more of your eye contact actually out with the audience. And you can drop your arms to the side, just let them hang if you don't know what to do with them. Every movement should be on purpose.
So engage your audience. Let them see who you are. Yes.
Looking for state changes, have them repeat things.
I reached a point where it became cold, very cold in the night. It snapped, and I was like, how am I going to get through this event? And how many of you have ever been cold before? Yeah, cold to the bone, like to the point where every step you take is just like painful. So now have 80 miles on your legs,
Oh my gosh.
and you're cold in the night, and it's dark, and you've been going for a long time, and the lights that appear to be so close are so far distant, and you think you're never going to get there.
Okay, that phrase that used, the lights that appears to be so close are so far distance, that's got an emotional trigger to it for so many people. So say that with a lot of deliberate language. That's going to trigger people.
And that's powerful. This is one of those phrases that you're going to keep in, and you're going to use it on purpose every time. You're also going to remember that you were running the Pony Express 100 or whatever you're running. But that is powerful. The light seemed so close, and yet it was far, far away.
So when Tracy says that's going to be one of those phrases that you keep, whether you're delivering a 45-minute presentation, a 20-minute presentation, or a 2-minute presentation,
it gets
to be in there.
Yes.
In that space, it was a long stretch. And up to that point, I had this amazing team of 5 women, all from different backgrounds.
Okay, then I'm going to encourage you to not declare that you had a team of 5 women. I'm going to encourage you to just declare that I had a team of 5 powerful individuals, or however, because that way I can, it allows me in my mind to assemble the team that I want to assemble, even though that's, so you can make reference to them, but I wouldn't be gender referenced to them.
And the common person may not even catch on to that consciously, but you'll get a couple in your crowd who will say, oh, I guess it has to be women, or something like that.
She's just talking to the women now, and not to the men.
Yeah, so just be aware of that.
Walks of life. We came together to create an amazing experience for me and for them. And in this cold stretch,
because once again, what is important is that the team came together for you, that you assembled this pit crew.
Mm-hmm.
And when we know that you assembled a pit crew, then the reason why you assembled them was so that they could come together for you. And you're about to tell me about this long stretch of cold times.
These girls, let me step back just a second.
You just stepped into the future.
Cold stretch. Or before I'm stuck. I just want to tell you about the cold stretch. Before the cold stretch, these girls had taken quotes, and they would write them on the car windows. Every few miles, I would see a new quote. And it was not only inspirational for me, but also to the other people who were running this event. So my crew became not only my crew, but they became every runner's cheerleaders.
That's cool.
And it was really awesome. As I was running along to think, wow, my team is not only supporting me, but they're supporting every runner that runs by our vehicle. And they're turning them on and they're giving them that lift. So when that cold spell came, and I was freezing to my bones, and every step I took was so painful, and I'm trying to run, and I think I'm running fast, and I'm hardly moving, and I got to my crew, and they opened the door, and one of them sat on the edge of a seat, and they pulled me into them, and they hugged me, and I immediately felt the warmth of their body and their encouragement in my soul. And another one was getting clothes out of.
So I would say felt their warmth, not necessarily specifically the warmth of their body, because that warmth is going to have a double meaning. If you just leave off the word body, felt their warmth, that could mean.
Then it can be the heart, their love, power.
So people will know that they're literally warming you up, but if you just leave off the detail of the body, that will have so much more impact for the people that are listening.
And why, and I have a question on, why is it important that they were, obviously I'm guessing that they're sitting in the car while you're still standing up somehow. I'm not understanding the power of you sitting down on the stage here necessarily. So and
mostly for visibility reasons that we avoid sitting on the stage, especially people like are your and my height. When we sit down, just people can't see us. So
My bag, and I stood there, and as she hugged me and she wrapped a blanket around me, I felt aliveness come back into my body.
cool.
They put the extra pants on me, and they put the extra jacket on me, and it was as if I had been zapped by a lightning bolt. And I was like,
Zap
okay,
by a lightning bolt. I
2
like
more
that.
miles to go. Off the road, and refreshed, renewed, ready to go.
That's good
So
phrasing.
the thing I
Refreshed,
learned
renewed, ready to
from the
go.
Pony Express 100 is the importance of a pit crew. Now,
Okay, so
how
when
do I
this is the
choose my
first
pit
time
crew?
I've heard you use the phrase pit crew, if you're going to use that, and I think you should, just make sure you drop it before, so that I had a team of 5 on my people, and I called them my pit crew.
Mm-hmm.
So do that at the beginning so that it's not a new term for us now.
And this might be a good note for you as well. So as you're sitting there,
Okay,
think
watch
about what makes a good
watch
pit
the
crew
finger
or
when you
support group
send
for
it out.
yourself. Some people call it a tribe.
Good,
For
good.
me, it's choosing people who can see me in my very raw, most vulnerable moments, no matter what that looks like. So when I'm crying because it hurts, or I come off and
Oh, Jen, do you know how powerful it would be if you actually got vulnerable?
Yes.
Oh my
And
gosh.
you're about to tell us about it. And when you were talking about them putting on the coat and putting on the extra layer of clothes for you, then I was starting to feel it. And I'm going to encourage you now to go down there, and because you're about to teach us a very, very powerful lesson. And so attach emotion to it,
Yeah.
so that we can feel it.
And if you do that, your presentation is talking about how you find a tribe or a pit crew that you trust, that you can be vulnerable in front of. And if you actually get vulnerable in front of those people, what does that say? It says that you're part of my tribe.
Mm-hmm.
It says that you're part of my pit crew because I can get vulnerable in front of you.
anger because my mind and my body and my soul is so tired. Or I'm like giddy punch drunk because I'm so tired and I'm so sore. I choose the people who are willing to go deep enough in their own souls and in their own hearts to be able to support me in any one of those moments. Because
This might be a time where quickly you may want to remind us that you're at mile 89 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be a quick reminder. It would be just a fast little thing that I'm tired, middle of the night, punch drunk.
80 miles on my legs.
Yes. I've ran 83.2 miles, and you could, even if you wanted to, get very specific, but it's going to be a fast something that you're just throwing out a number. Like I was actually aware of how long I had run.
Yeah.
So that's just consideration.
not only do they get to support me in that moment, they're going to have their own experience as they're assisting me in completing my finish line. So the lesson I learned in Pony Express 100 was the importance of what?
Pit crew.
A pit crew. If I spell it right. Would anyone else like to spell the word pit?
Humor is a state change. Use it. Love it.
That was good.
There we go. Pit crew. So, take just a second, and what would be your standards or qualifications for your pit crew?
Oh,
Take
so
just a
nice.
second to think about that.
Okay, and remind us what your standards and qualifications for pit crew are.
Does everyone have at least something? I'd like you to turn to your neighbor and just tell them what 1 or 2 qualifications would be.
Okay, and what Marianne said is very, very important. If you had given me a couple of examples of, you told us earlier that you're looking for these people, and they were able to change your whole life and keep you alive during this crazy 100-mile thing. If you had given us some examples of just 2 or 3, then now going in and asking them to turn to their neighbor and come up with some ideas, then that may be helpful, because I may not really know, well, I don't have a pit crew, I don't run,
I don't drive NASCAR.
I'm not sure what you're trying to help me get, or the quality that I'm needing. Because if I'm in a NASCAR pit crew, then I want someone that's fast. If I'm in a pit crew for a 100-mile run, then I want someone that knows something about my body and
nutrition,
how to keep me warm and keep me alive and keep my electrolytes flowing and all those kind of things, which I believe that you may be telling us about here in just a minute.
So I also want to say I would get some audience shares before you do a partner share. So get 2 or 3 audience shares and then go into a partner share. Also, at this point, I feel like this story is less of an analogy and more just for runners. So I know where you're going with this, but I have not yet, as an audience member, connected your story with how my life is run. Only if I'm a runner does it feel like it applies. So if you can cross over more with your analogy of, you can say something like, in a 100-mile race, it kind of feels like life sometimes. And anyone ever felt like they're in a 100-mile race before? And you're going to get some ahas and giggles there. And when we have our pit crew, those are the people in our life or our life's race that show up for us. Those are the people that are at your door at 2 a.m. when you call. Those are the kind of people that say, I'm here for you, what do you need? Either on the road or on the race of life. So just make some little bridges every here and there, connecting your story to what the content is you're teaching for the lifestyle, not just for runners.
Personal pit crew. The people that are going to support you along the way.
Okay, support you along the way.
To your finish line.
I like that.
Your finish line was a perfect little bridge. I just want more of those.
See what your needs are almost before you even know what you're needing with it. So that they're ready to help you.
And once again, having the personal shares first before the other shares. But it sounds like that you've got a lot of interaction going on in the room.
All right, 10 seconds.
Good warning. You remembered. And
Beautiful. Is there anyone who'd be willing to share?
Okay, once again, your hand is up way too soon. So I'm going to encourage you to focus on when your hand's going to go up, and it's going to be at the very end of the question.
And when you say 10 more seconds, it's funny because as a presenter, it's never really 10 seconds. It's more like 3. So you say 10 more seconds, and then give them this long vocal warning, and stop, give your partner a high five, and say, you got a great pit crew, and move on from there. So you're going to do your individual shares before your partner shares, give them that nice warning, and then do the stop, high five, state change, and then move on.
Really quickly, what 1 or 2 of your qualifications are for your pit crew? Mitch.
Somebody that's insightful and they almost know your needs before you need it, so that you almost don't even have to ask for help.
Insightful and they know your needs before you do. Very helpful. So let me ask you this question. How many of you know what ultra running is? Yeah, how many want to know? So let me tell you a little bit about ultra running.
Okay, how many want to know?
100 miles.
I'm not sure whether I'm gonna ask. I may still ask the first question. How many of you know what ultra running, ultra racing means? Most people, I'm gonna guess, do not.
So you could even play off of that and say, maybe you'll get 1 or 2 that do, just because you know your audience. And then you can follow it up with, how many of you have no idea what an ultra marathon is?
Now you've engaged the whole audience. Because how many of you know what it is? And if you don't get very many responses, How many of you have never even heard of ultra marathon or don't know what it is? Now
and
the
that's a
whole
safe
audience.
question because it's funny, and they won't feel dumb because that's most of the room.
Right? So ultra running is anything over 26.2. So 50 Ks, 50 milers, 100 Ks, 100 milers. There are even 200-mile races now.
That's disgusting.
And so the really amazing thing about these is it's not just the distance, it's the terrain. So let me tell you a little bit about my first 50-miler.
You've
And
got
what I
like
learned
3
at
keynotes
the
here.
Grand Teton
Like
races.
distance,
I know.
terrain.
Grand Teton, that just like puts fear in you, even just saying the word, right? It did me too. So, Grand Tetons, the first 3 miles, 2,000 feet of climbing, like this, right? Anyone like
That's
2,000 feet of climbing
ridiculous.
have an idea of
When
what
you say
that
like this,
might
I think you're
feel
raising your
like?
hand.
I'm
I
not
want to see
kidding,
you
it's like this.
do
My quads
this.
are hurting just thinking
So
about
that they can see from the
Quads are
side.
hurting, feet are hurting.
Like go up the hill with your hand. So rather than saying like this,
So
say
it started, and if you wanted to, you could start it and just start making it. It's a 2,000-foot climb for the first 3 miles.
Lungs are hurting because not only is it like this, it's an elevation. Air gets thin, hearts beat fast. So if you have a lot of this, you usually have a lot of what? This. Yes. Now the really amazing thing about this trail is it
go. So when you I like what you're doing here. It's a great audience change. But to frame it up so they know what to do, say, and what goes up must come down. So if you have a lot of this, you're going to have a lot of this. That way your audience
And so you can call this up. So if you have a lot of up, then you're going to have a lot of down.
Okay, that way they'll be able to follow you.
And they'll
wasn't
be
just
able
this,
to
and
talk
it
to
wasn't
you.
just this. We had this. The trails weren't flat, and they weren't smooth like this floor. They were covered with rocks and roots and other dangerous things, including this of the trail.
Okay, so in my mind, I know what you're saying because I've seen you present live, but you've just told me that mountains are going like this in elevation. So when you do this, I'm like, are you running downhill and then back uphill? As an audience member,
Is the trail skinny because it's got mountains on both sides of it?
Yeah. So I think what you're trying to say is the trail dips in the middle. So not only do you have this uphill, not only do you have this downhill, but the trail isn't even level all the way across. It dips in the middle.
Has holes and roots, and you did name a few of the things.
Yeah. So just tell us what you're doing with your hands.
And as I was going in this race, now this is a 2-loop race. 2 loops of 25 miles of this and this. And wildlife. And not just the running, wildlife. And as I was out there, I experienced blisters from the uneven surface.
Okay, uneven surface. That's
I'd never
clear.
had blisters before. And these weren't just little blisters. They were the entire size of my heel doubled up. But not only did I have blisters of my feet and my body, I got blisters in my mind. And I started thinking, I don't feel so
I'm
well.
not sure what it is.
Yeah, there's a right click on that.
Okay, you said you got blisters doubling up. I like that, but I got blisters on top of blisters.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
And then because that's kind of what you were saying, I'm guessing. I can't imagine it, nor do I want to imagine it. But it hurts thinking about it. And so that may be just a powerful little note that you can, blisters on top
Even my
of blisters.
blisters got blisters.
Yes.
And I don't even know what I'm doing out here or if I even want to finish this stupid race. Who signed me up for this?
Okay, that is powerful, and you can energetically really get into it and be mad at yourself when you're saying there this stupid race. So you can use that word stupid, which I don't encourage.
But you have permission there.
But you're using it because you're talking about this is crazy,
What were you thinking at the time?
and we all agree that it is.
Okay, but this moment, I want you to try lowering or slowing down your language. Who signed me up for this stupid race? And let the silence sit there. Let it sit for like 30 seconds and then go, ta-da.
I did.
I like what you're doing here, but if you can go, I feel like we've gone to a low point and then back up and a little bit lower of a point instead of a steady slope down. So if you're going to make this your low point, it'd be cool. And your little ta-da is really fun state change to get out of it. I'm going to see where you're going so far, but that's what I've got for you for this section.
I did. So I get into an aid station, mile 20 aid station.
Good detail.
And I come up to the table, and these aid stations are full of potato chips, salt sticks, salt, potatoes, candy, sandwiches, soup. It is a smorgasbord of junk and awesomeness. And I get up there, and I was not well. And the lovely crew there said to me, "Are you okay? You don't look so good. You're gray." Which is exactly how I felt.
Good.
Was gray.
Good.
And I didn't even know if I wanted to finish the next 5 miles to get to the halfway point.
Okay, you said 20 miles and 5 miles later to halfway point.
Well, that's 25, so that would be, because 2 laps of 25.
So are you in a 50-mile race now?
Yes.
Did I miss
she
that?
did. She did say that.
Oh, okay. I missed that. Okay.
And one of the things that I'm just thinking, because I just saw the movie Trolls.
Oh, you did?
Then when the trolls got sad, they went gray. And so this is one of those opportunities that from time to time there may be current events or current things that are happening.
Relevancy. That
people are aware of. And if you were aware of that also, then you may be throwing something out there. I look like a sad troll at that moment. Not that you have to. I was just thinking of it because you were using that language that you were gray.
You can just use relevancy. Yeah.
And here's what made a difference for me. The pit crew there said, "What are you taking for your electrolyte?" So I told them. Now, they used some pretty strong language, but it gets the point across. So I'm just going to tell you what they said.
Okay, good for
They
you.
said, "These things are like piss in the wind here." Got the point across. I knew what they were talking about.
Okay,
maybe
that
I
was
needed to
good
make some
frame up for
changes.
that.
And
Yes.
hopefully
Because you told me that you were about to use language that might not be acceptable from the stage, but because of the state that you were in, it was not only was it acceptable, it was needed for you to be able to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes mentors may say things that make me sad or mad or angry even.
But you said that they were saying it to you, which also made it a safer thing, and you framed it up well. So I like the way you did that.
they knew what those changes were. And they offered me a different kind of electrolyte.
Okay, pause right here.
Said,
You are getting mentorship from this pit crew. So if you can stop and say, they knew exactly what I needed. They what? Knew exactly what I needed. So you're framing up mentorship right here, which is what you are. So if you can have the audience repeat what mentors do, that will say, oh, that means someone can know exactly what I need, which would be you, because you're the mentor. So have the audience repeat your key, that Tracy calls them nuggets of gold. Have the audience repeat those, because then they'll lock it in.
this, you'll feel better. And eat this potato and dip it in the salt and then eat it. And eat some of these potato chips because they have salt and they're going to give you the fat that you need, and maybe have some of these M&Ms. And then they sent me on my way.
I love that.
Wow.
This is so powerful because you're naming all of these things that we tend to think are bad for you. And now these things are going to save your life. And you have in a moment done a paradigm shift and changed the way that we view certain things, and now you're gonna.
Oh, so wait. That means I have to run 20 miles before I can have M&Ms.
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
Still didn't know if I wanted to finish or if I trusted that those electrolytes would work. But I saw the medals hanging there.
Nice.
And that was enough motivation to at least get me out to finish the next 5 miles.
Sometimes certain things keep us going.
Now, I did finish that race, and I proudly wore the medal. And I'm happy to report that I felt better. So the big lesson that I learned in the Grand Teton 50 miler was this.
Grand Teton 50 miler. It's like a secret handshake.
What did that say?
Little
things. I'm so happy I can read my writing. Little things. I learned how much the little
And you wrote little
adjustments
big.
and changes we make can make all the difference in the things that we do.
Little things.
And it made the big difference in me finishing that event.
So the little things make the big difference.
Mm-hmm.
What do the little things make? The big difference. Once again, finding times where you can tap into the audience and let them participate with you, because they have now just finished a 50-mile race.
Mm-hmm.
Blisters and all. Let me tell you about my second 100-miler.
Okay.
The Pigtails 100 in Renton, Washington. Now, talk about running in circles. This put a whole new meaning. 10-mile loop course.
Okay, you just related
How
it
many
to
miles
my...
was I running?
10.
100. So I was running that loop how many
10
times?
times.
10
10
One
times.
time.
Yeah, it's a good thing I have 10 fingers. Running in circles. Alternate circles till we were done with 100 miles. So I'm running, and I'm happy, and I have my buddy in front of me, and mile 8 happens.
8.
I get an owie.
8. Mile 8.
Have any of you ever had an owie, like right here in your foot, in your ankle? It's not very comfortable. Mile 8 of 100,
Okay,
I
good
get
emphasis.
this owie. And I push through it. And I walk a lot. And it hurt to walk. And it hurt to run. But I was determined to finish.
And everything you say is like relevant to life. When it hurts to walk, when it hurts to do life slow, when it feels like it hurts to do life fast,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you need a mentor. Someone in front of you who's taken your steps. Oh, this is so good.
We take a couple naps. I'm frustrated because I was feeling good and I didn't want a nap. And then I'm tired. And we're on the trail. Like sleep running. Like sleep running is like... It was horrible. Horrible. I do not recommend sleep running. I picked my foot up on a post. And I went to tie my shoe. I fell asleep even just putting my foot up on the post. Mile 80. So we're through the night, mile 80. The sun has now risen twice. And I said,
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
Finish. My leg
Twice
hurts,
is nice.
and I'm tired. And she turned around to me and she said, I'm finishing this race, and I'm not finishing it without you. And she took off running. So I took off running, hoping I could catch up with her and wring her neck.
Good state change.
We get to mile 90. How many loops do I have left at
One
mile
more
90?
loop.
One.
Good state change. Oh man, you've got so many like ups and downs in your presentation. You've got like 3 presentations here, and I want to get to the point where we get to the low. Where's your low point? Because you got intensity all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
I want that moment. You're just gonna have to pick one because you've got several that you could use, but I want to know what it is. I want to know when we're there, and I want to know when I connect with you. And I also want to see you keep building those little bridges between the running and your life. I want to see you keep on that. Let's see, 1732. We're gonna try loading this again. Oh, that's odd. Let's try this. Yeah, so, here we go.
So I took off running, hoping I could catch up with her and wring her neck. We get to mile 90. How many loops do I have left at mile 90? One.
Good state change.
And I'm thinking, I'm the last one to finish this race. I hate being last. And a miracle happened. I saw another runner come in who had run the loops the wrong way. And I was like, And my buddy, I went to say, hey, and she was already up there, and she's like, get out here. So I didn't really get my food, and I just started running behind her. And I don't know that you can call it running, because I was hurting, and I was tired, and I'm hungry, and I have 10 miles left. But I don't want to be last. And my friend said to me, follow my feet. Just follow my feet. So I did. Painfully, I watched her feet in front of me. And I said, hey God, I'm hurting so bad. And I want to stay up with her. And I want to finish this race. And not only do I want to finish it, I want to finish it well and not last. And I followed her feet, and she kept getting faster. And she would run up the hills. But I followed. And what I learned is that, one, I ran the fastest 10 miles of that entire 100 on that last 10 miles. And I learned this about myself, that I am freaking amazing.
That is awesome.
And I also learned that I have a reservoir inside me of strength that I never knew I had.
Wow.
And
There's
we
the
all
lesson.
have that reservoir of strength if we will just dig deep.
Good.
If we just do what?
Dig deep.
Good repetition.
We all have moments in our lives where we wonder if we have enough strength to cross the finish line or to get the task done. And I'm telling you, at the Pigtails 100, I learned that we always have that strength if we will just dig deep. That reservoir is in every one of us. And part of the way we get that is to connect back to ourselves and to connect back to our source. So I'm going to invite you to take just a moment to think about some moments where you could dig deep in an adventure that you're having right now. And are you willing enough to follow the feet in front of you to help you run your fastest 10 miles? You guys get a bonus thought tonight. A number 4.
Bonus.
This was an
Good for
aha
now.
we had yesterday. Well, I had the opportunity to talk to another group of people about this. Is that the person leading me was third from last. And she was
Yes.
my leader.
Good.
Yes.
She was the person that brought me across the finish line. And the aha is this: you don't have to be the first leader or in
Amen.
front of the pack or whatever you want to call it to be the leader. You can be third from last, or you can be second from last, or you can be dead last
Oh.
and still cross the finish line and teach people.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Nice bonus
who
material.
will be your pit crew? Or as our friend, the Pastor Prosperity says,
Come on, girl.
your board of directors.
All right, thank you.
What
Atta girl.
little things will make a big difference in your life? Where
Little
will
things
you
make the
dig
big things. Dig
Or where
deep.
you get to be the leader, even if you're not in the front of the pack. Life is amazing. I encourage you and exhort you to embrace the adventure, to be the superhero in every story and in every day of your life. And with that, I'm going to end it as I always do, and remind you to go be great.
Go be great.
Excellent.
Okay, so one of the
Morning.
things I'm invite you to consider and look at is be mindful of your staging. Oftentimes you were going to the past when you could have been going to the present or to the future.
Yeah.
And just be mindful of that. So my superhero move, then I would do that to the future, and I might just step before I do it.
So
I like it.
I'm wondering about the cape. I'm playing with it in my mind. Trying to, because when you're speaking, I kind of got distracted by it. It's got a cool place.
Yours is good enough that you don't need props.
Think you need it.
You don't need a prop.
Yeah.
And oftentimes people need props to make what they're teaching be powerful. And I don't know that you need a prop or have it where that you can put it on and put it away.
Like a big reveal at the end, you know. I don't even know though. I don't know if it would be helpful to your presentation. I think yours because your presentation isn't theatrical. It's not something you pretended to do or wanted to do. It's something you did, and I don't know that you were wearing a cape when you ran. You really did it though. You really are the superhero, and you didn't do it with a cape, and you don't need a cape to be your own superhero. Also, the way you ended was fun. What did you say? Go be
great.
Go be great. I want to tie that into your presentation. At one point you said, I learned that I was freaking awesome. So maybe at the end you say, go be freaking awesome. Or I learned that I was really, truly experiencing my greatness. So tie that in at the end of go be great.
So if your sign out, I'm kind of with that.
Yeah.
If your sign out is go be great, then you may want to seed that a couple of times during your presentation on greatness.
Yeah, totally. There was that point when you said you're freaking awesome. It felt like landed in the wrong place of the presentation. Because it's true, but notice the audience's reaction right after you said it, and they may have been feeling like, yeah, you are. What about us? You know, and when we saw it, you said it at a point where it was humorous, so we could laugh with you instead of feeling like there was a braggadocious energy. And I know you weren't giving one off, but the audience may not have that filter. So I would drop that from that point in the presentation and maybe put it where we had it earlier this week or last week, whatever it was. So I think that's all we have for you. Any other feedback?
That was good. Go be great.
Okay, go be great. Okay, we'll send you an email with our final decision. Thanks, Jen.